Hello and welcome to The Entrepreneurs on Monocle Radio, the show all about inspiring people, innovative companies, and fresh ideas in global business. Today's episode is one for animal lovers, as we meet the co-founder and CEO of a platform ushering in a new era of healthcare for our pets.
These are animals that we love and give us so much love back that they bring tons of joy. When they're not doing well, we want to take care of them and give them back that care that they're giving us every day.
This is The Entrepreneurs with me, Tom Edwards. You're listening to The Entrepreneurs. Mark Bordo is a Toronto-based serial entrepreneur known for founding and selling several online marketplaces. In 2020, with pet ownership on the rise, Mark spotted a gap in the market. Pet owners needed faster access to class-leading veterinary care. That same year, Mark launched Vetster, an online platform delivering exactly that. Monocle's Toronto correspondent Tomos met Mark to find out how Vetster has sought to perfect a system often dogged by inefficiencies. He began by telling Tomos about the start of the journey.
Vetster is a North American and globally leading telemedicine platform for pets, where we are matching veterinarians with pet parents all across North America and into the UK in over 50 countries around the world for pet parents that are looking for proactive healthcare for their pets. That can be anything from triage, diet, nutrition, all the way up to acute and major symptomatic conditions for their pets.
You're obviously a pet owner. Lovely Bailey is here in the office today. Yeah, where did the idea for Vetster, that kind of provision, come to you from?
Vetster is what I refer to as a marketplace, where we take veterinarians and we match them with pet parents for incredible pet telemedicine experiences. And these experiences happen on the Vetster platform. My history over the last 25 years has been in marketplace technology. Before Vetster, I've built two very large marketplaces where I wasn't in pet space. One was in home improvement, the other was in vacation rentals. But I've been in marketplace tech for going on 25 years. So after I sold my last company in vacation rental space in marketplaces, pre-pandemic, I started to look into human telemedicine. And I was very interested in that space. I was wondering, saw a lot of great companies starting out in that space, and I was wondering what I could do in that space. And as I investigated it, the story is pretty simple. My old dog, Riley, who was a 17-year-old cockapoo, passed away about a year ago. Riley was the inspiration behind Vetster, and simply put, Riley needed a vet appointment. I couldn't get Riley to the veterinary clinic because I was stuck in the office for a change, and Riley considered me to be her human, and that was pretty disappointing that I couldn't take her, and I started thinking, well, why can't I take her to a vet the way that humans are starting to go to doctors through telemedicine? So one thing led to another, and I decided to go out and, with my team, build a marketplace matching pet parents and veterinarians for amazing pet telemedicine experiences.
When did Vetster launch?
We launched just around the late 2019, early 2020.
Fantastic. And in that time, so maybe kind of take us back to that sort of initial kind of opening, the kind of appetite that pet parents, as you put them, had for the kind of nimbleness, it sounds like, to be able to sort of get a medical solution to their pet if the need for that kind of arises.
Oftentimes in these types of businesses, timing is really important. And I always like to tell people, in no way was Vetster a reaction or, a reflex or reaction to COVID or the pandemic. This idea was conceived, just as I mentioned it, out of solving my own personal need. I knew from the minute that it hit me that pet parents would love the opportunity to have veterinary appointments from the comforts of their own home. It was less anxiety on the pets, less anxiety on the pet parents, and even less anxiety on the veterinarians to be able to work in this way. And so by no means was this a reaction to the pandemic. Now, in saying that, I probably couldn't have thrown a dart at a calendar over the last 7 or 8 years and picked a better day to launch Vetster, because what happened is the pandemic started to hit, veterinary clinics were closing all over the place, and veterinarians had to And pet parents had to adopt the technology around telemedicine in order to get care for their pets. So it completely accelerated the education and awareness of pet telemedicine, as well as fueled, governmental and regulation changes all across the world as, a real requirement for what was happening with the pandemic.
And so the landscape before Vetster comes along, maybe describe that a little. Is it fair to characterize it as kind of a fairly traditional sort of setup where you make an appointment with a vet, that appointment takes however long to sort of, how that kind of works, what that kind of landscape was, and whether it hadn't been that nimble kind of up until, in your view anyway, up until Vetster sort of came along?
Yes, I'm a lifelong dog owner. So I'm almost 49 now, and I've had a dog my whole life. So I have had absolutely plenty of experiences in vet clinics. I love my brick and mortar vet. I think veterinarians are absolutely remarkable people who are talented, educated, and have an affinity and love for pets that is really unmatched. They do absolutely wonderful jobs. And when we went into Vetster, we wanted to make sure that by no means were we going to compete with veterinary clinics. We wanted to be here to complement veterinary clinics. We wanted to be here for things like continuity of care, for access to care when you couldn't afford it, when you couldn't reach your veterinarian, when the clinics were closed. And we wanted to provide veterinarians with the opportunity to work differently. So for the first times in their careers, to work where they wanted, when they wanted, and how they wanted, not only working, shifts when they were in clinics. Just like all of us like to work sometimes from home now and sometimes from the office, well, we wanted to present that opportunity to veterinarians. So prior to Vetster, if I think about my experiences heading to the vet clinic, you are loading up your pet. And when I say pet, for Vetster, we treat over 20 different species of pets on the platform, mostly dogs and cats, but we treat guinea pigs and hamsters and bunny rabbits and reptiles and horses. So for companion animals, when you bring them to the vet traditionally, you're loading them up in your car, which is an experience. The dog is anxious. You're taking time away from your work or from your family to go to the vet clinic. You go to the clinic, you sit in the waiting room, you get called into the room with your animal. There's other animals around. That is an experience on its own. And everybody's anxious about that situation. Your animal, you're hoping that they don't have an accident. They're shaking. You just want to get your appointment. You want to get, the reason that you came for. Your veterinarian's doing the best to sort of calm everything down, calm the animal down, do the exam. And really, you're leaving the appointment fairly quickly. And it's a very anxious experience for the whole group. That's the traditional way. Where Vetster comes in is we change a lot of that. Now, all of a sudden, you don't have that waiting room experience. You don't have a nervous animal. You don't have a nervous pet owner. You really have a calm situation where you can have a veterinarian one-on-one and get their opinions and education and guidance on the issues that are going on with your pet. It's really quite a different experience from being in clinic to being at home when your animal is not necessarily even in the room with you.
And maybe for a non-pet owner, I'm afraid to say, but for someone who hasn't used Vetster, maybe walk us through kind of how it works. So my pet, I've noticed something wrong. What do I do?
There's a couple different ways you can use Vetster. You can either come into Vetster and book an appointment as you need it, but a much more productive way to use Vetster is we have a subscription service where you can subscribe to Vetster. You can download the app and get a subscription to Vetster where you can get a certain amount of appointments annually and get access to this amazing feature, which is our unlimited chat feature, where you can meet our registered veterinary technicians and ask them all kinds of questions through live chat on Vetster. So the combination of the unlimited chat feature with the medical appointments that you get as part of our subscription give you that wholesome care, but that's how you really can get access to Vetster. So I would encourage you to go to Vetster, go to the App Store, go download the Vetster app and get a subscription and make sure that you have the world's best pet health app on your phones. As long as you can properly communicate to the veterinarian the symptoms that your animal is experiencing and how it started and give a lot of context around the symptoms, the vet has a really good chance to make their diagnosis for your pet. In addition to that, Vetster is such a high technical medical platform that we allow pet parents to upload all sorts of data, photos, video, blood work, x-rays, analysis, their medical records from their clinics, all of these other tools that can help a veterinarian make a proper diagnosis. So you take all of that data that you can upload to Vetster, all of the photos, all of the videos, images. They can even look at your animal live on camera and see exactly what's going on. And you combine that with really solid communication with a veterinarian, and you can get to a really great course of care. In fact, most cases that start on Vetster resolve on Vetster. And what's super neat is with the regulatory changes that are happening across North America and on a global basis, in many cases, depending on where you live, we're able to get medication delivered right to your door, or you can pick it up at your local pharmacy, your local human pharmacy. So your CVS or Walgreens, or here in Canada, you can pick it up at your Shoppers Drug Mart or Rexall if you don't want to wait for it to be delivered to your home, let's say next day.
So that's the entire network, basically, kind of from the initial symptoms to the consultation to the solution.
Yeah, the platform is a masterpiece. Essentially, the way that Vetster works is you go onto the platform or you download the app and you start browsing for a veterinarian. Vetster wants you to pick your veterinarian. So based on a whole number of variables, including availability, including price point, including maybe languages that the vet speaks or the species that they treat, we want you to pick your own veterinarian. Even price. The vets set their own rates for appointments. So maybe price is your number one variable. Well, now all of a sudden you have upfront, transparent pricing where you can select your vet. Once you select your vet, you'll be able to learn even more about your veterinarian. You'll be able to see the state or province that they're practicing in. You'll be able to see their licenses. You'll read a bio about them. And you can read all the great reviews we have about these amazing veterinarians. When you're comfortable, you pick your veterinarian, you book your appointment, either for right then, for within an hour, or later in the day if that's convenient. When that time is scheduled, you go onto the Vetster platform and it brings up a remarkable telemedicine experience where you're one-on-one with a vet. It mimics an in-clinic experience as closely as possible, and it will resolve in a full medical record for you of the appointment that you can take with you. You can easily send it back to your home clinic so that you can keep them aware of the appointment you just had on Vetster, or you can take it with you and send it to wherever you need. But you get a complete medical record at the end of the appointment. And what's really neat about virtual care is just like you have your brick and mortar veterinarian, you can select the same veterinarian over and over again on Vetster so that you can start to develop a relationship with that veterinarian. And now you have a virtual vet and you have a brick and mortar vet. So I take my dog to the vet clinic wherever she needs vaccines. In fact, we're heading there next week for Bailey to get some shots. But my day-to-day treatment of things or questions that I have with regards to Bailey's health are all done virtually, either through our live chat function or through our medical appointments.
And from the veterinarian point of view, the vets who are on Vetster's platform, how do you recruit those vets? And I just wonder kind of how vets largely feel about being on Vetster, what kind of difference that's made to their, I guess, daily working lives. Kind of what's the response from them that you hear about how much Vetster has changed kind of how they do their work and the kind of pool of kind of clients that they now have?
We love our veterinarians. I think it starts with me. Again, lifelong dog owner. I have an absolute remarkable veterinarian who was with me with my old cockapoo through her kidney disease and through her senior years and through her end of life, and is now with me again at the restart of Bailey. She's Bailey's 1-year-old mini Bernedoodle now. My brick and mortar vet knows exactly what I do for a living. We are not at all in competition. I think a veterinarian is a remarkable career, and they just provide so much amazing care to these animals that we love that they are absolutely vital. They need to be looked after. Today, there's a real trend around humanization of pets, meaning that we treat our pets like kids, and that goes for care. And when we need care, we need it. And whether it's virtual care or whether it's in-clinic care, we are relying on these amazing doctors who have spent so much time being educated to take care of our pets, and they do an absolute remarkable job. But they, for years and years, have not been treated fairly. It is a really tough profession. veterinarians are met with all kinds of demands on their schedule. Almost 70% of homes in North America have pets. There's probably less than 150,000 vets across all of North America. So do the math on that ratio and imagine how taxing that demand is on these veterinarians. Imagine how difficult it is to show up to work every day with a never-ending stream of vulnerable, distressed pet parents, stressed pet parents, who are in your clinic and need to provide care for your pets. And this care isn't cheap. Often these meds are quite expensive, and they have to then deal with presenting, these vulnerable pet parents with some sizable bills at times, not to mention all the care they have to provide, or in some tough days having to put animals down, being on their feet, the physical component to being a vet. It is a really difficult profession. When we launched in 2020, we give the veterinarians a chance to work where they want, when they want, and how they want. And it has been met with incredible fanfare and been very well received. So some do it full-time, some do it part-time. Some vets who are physically challenged and no longer can work in clinics, now they have an option to continue their careers. So all sorts of different use cases and cohorts work on Vetster. From a recruiting perspective, we are always looking for great veterinarians who want to practice virtually. We have a great onboarding program. We even have a masterclass around pet telemedicine, so we can help you learn how to provide telemedicine appointments. But yeah, vets are coming to us very often organically to start practicing on the platform.
So a vet with Vetster wouldn't have their own practice at the same time. A Vetster vet is a Vetster vet, if that makes sense. Or do they also have their own practice?
Yeah, no, not at all. These are licensed practicing veterinarians that are allocating certain hours of their day, of their schedules, to practice virtually as well.
And yeah, maybe looking sort of ahead, what's the sort of plans for the future for Vetster? Because you talked about almost 70%, I think, of households in North America having a pet. Maybe interesting to have a thought about kind of what kind of pets kind of people are having from the vantage point of Vetster. Are you seeing sort of one sort of species kind of gaining popularity, or are dogs, for example, still kind of the anchor to a lot of people's sort of, pet lives, if I can put it that way?
Yeah, it's mostly dogs and cats that make up the majority of the patients that are on Vetster. But we are seeing, as I mentioned, all sorts of different species on the platform, which is pretty unique. And our veterinarians will specialize in some of these, whether you're an exotic veterinarian or whether you treat reptiles or birds or even, horses. You could find care and specialists for those types of species on Vetster. You asked about the future, and I would say that this is an industry in crisis. There were millions of pets adopted over the pandemic, and these pets are starting to age now, and they are going to require a lot of care, and there's a critical shortage of veterinarians across North America and globally. What we're talking about today isn't a North American problem. It's not a Canadian issue or an American issue. This is a full global problem. There's vet shortages in Europe, in Australia, in Asia, and Vetster is a really great answer to manage a lot of these shortages and help improve the careers and experiences that veterinarians are having in their day-to-day lives. So what we see in the future is, unfortunately, that this crisis is going to worsen. There are more vets leaving the industry than joining the industry, and pet telemedicine is the future of medical care in the veterinary industry. So we see it becoming more widely adopted. We see the awareness and education of pet telemedicine around how effective this treatment is being much more widely spread, and adoption rates skyrocketing over the next, really in the short term, over the next couple of years.
And why is that the current situation for veterinary medicine? Why are vets kind of leaving at a greater rate than new vets are joining? Yeah,
it's really what we just discussed. It is a really tough profession. And I had no idea about that. Even for all those years that I went to the vet clinics myself, it looked like an amazing profession. Kids want to be veterinarians. But what's happening today is that the profession has really changed. And it is a really taxing profession to be a veterinarian today. And they're special people doing remarkable things for the pets that we love. And in a lot of cases, they're not just treated fairly. And it is a very hard job. And we're just seeing more veterinarians choose to leave than, join the profession.
In terms of the territories that Vetster operates in, I'm guessing that every territory has its own guidelines, laws that govern kind of this field. How does Vetster sort of assess those things when looking at kind of maybe new territories to operate in?
Yeah, like many new emerging markets, telemedicine, pet telemedicine specifically, is a regulated industry. And it's regulated state by state, country by country, province by province, have their own regulations. And basically the regulation is, can I, diagnose and prescribe for a specific animal virtually, or do I have to see that animal first in person before I'm able to diagnose and prescribe? And the movement over the last several years has really started to gain momentum, where we are seeing states and countries around the world change their regulations to adopt telemedicine laws, allowing you to treat animals specifically through virtual care. So it's really exciting that that's happening, and it's happening because the industry is in crisis and consumers are absolutely demanding this. Now we're on our mobile phones all the time, and we expect things when we need them. So if it's 8:00 at night and I need a vet appointment, I don't want to have to, in a lot of cases, run down to the emergency and spend my entire night there. I'd rather deal with that issue from my phone on my couch. So whether it's Christmas Eve or Super Bowl Sunday, or just a regular Tuesday afternoon when I'm stuck at work, I can now take these vet appointments wherever I am in a very convenient fashion. And so that consumer driven mentality, along with what's happening on the regulatory side, is really driving this industry forward.
And in terms of Vetster's customer base, are you able to sort of track how big that is in various places? And I guess maybe if it's possible to give a snapshot of who the pet owners who use Vetster are. I'm imagining, that owning a pet quite often can be a bit of an equalizer, that actually, you can be from whatever part of a city or a society, and, there is a kind of high chance, I guess, that you would have a pet in your life. Yeah, any thoughts you have on kind of who is using Vetster since it began, but also how that audience is changing possibly?
I think the audience is dramatically changing as Vetster evolves. Early, and especially early in the pandemic, many were looking for acute care and solutions to acute care. And so Vetster was answering that solution. And the Vetster app was really centered around pet telemedicine and acute care. You have an issue right now, we need to solve it. We need to be able to get you medication where available for your pet. Over the years, Vetster has really evolved to become the best pet health app on the internet. So now all sorts of cases can be treated on Vetster, whether it is about diet, nutrition. When was the last time you looked into what you're feeding your animal? Or whether it was behavioral, or your dog is aging and has some, senior conditions, or maybe some supplements can help and you can use Vetster for that. Or maybe you just want to be proactive about the care and understand the schedule that they should be on. All sorts of cases like that. And what we found to be super interesting in how people are using telemedicine too is in really serious conditions, like what my dog Riley, my old dog, was going through, where they're at the clinics and they're getting even something like IVs for kidney disease. All of that data can be uploaded to Vetster. And in between those appointments, you are able to get a veterinarian to help you manage the case between your specialist appointments. You could have a cancer specialist and go in for treatment with your animal, and you get home and it's Friday night at 7 p.m. and your dog is reacting to some symptoms. Well, now you can use telemedicine in addition to that specialist to help treat those conditions. So it's not at all just about acute anymore. It has really rapidly changed into overall pet health. So that's really how the app has grown. In terms of the user base, yes, now it's about people who have animals, who want to learn how to proactively take care of their animals.
And then maybe a final thought then to come back to that. I wonder, seeing how that audience base is changing, why people choose to have a pet in their lives. You, like you said, have had pets your entire life, dogs your entire life. I just wonder kind of what the magic of having a pet in your life is, and how you felt being able to bring this platform into the world for pet owners, sort of make that experience a little easier, I guess.
Yeah, thanks for asking that. It is at the forefront of all of our team members here. There's a big team here in Toronto. There's about 70 people here in our headquarters, and probably most, if not almost all, have a pet. Mostly cats and dogs, but have a pet. It is amazing to come to work and to be on the mission that we are on. I can't stress enough that access to pet care is in crisis levels right now. Maybe not in every neighborhood, but generally speaking across North America, it is really hard to access a veterinarian when you need them. We can't predict when problems arise for our pets. It could be at night. And we can now provide this access to care. And so with Vetster, we've seen such amazing results over the last almost 5 years now and have saved so many pets that it is so rewarding to show up to work here. I've mentioned when we started this interview that I had 2 other companies in the past, and they were great companies, but they were KPI-driven businesses. And this is too, but this also comes with the mission statement of saving pets, helping pet parents navigate pet care. And as we put more and more of a importance on how we feel about our pets and how much we care about our pets and how we treat them like kids, it's so rewarding to be able to help these pet parents get access and, of course, help the veterinarians provide that care. I have veterinarians say to me all the time that it was so great that they were able to treat this many more animals after their shift, because truly that's what they love to do, is save these pets. So I'll speak from my experience. Bailey's 14 months old. Wow, is she a lot of work. My family said they would help take care of her. They don't. It is me that takes care of this dog. She is an amazing dog. She's here at our Vetster offices pretty much most days. But the work involved in caring for Bailey is given back to myself and my family tenfold in the way that she is always in good spirits. She always will make you smile. It doesn't matter what kind of day you had at work. That dog doesn't care. That dog wants you to take her for a walk and wants you to, and will be totally excited and is so super playful. And I think those types of experiences are what pet parents all over the place get from their pets. These are unconditional, animals that we love and give us so much love back that they bring tons of joy into our worlds. And so when they're not doing well and when they're not feeling well, we want to take care of them and give them back that care that they're giving us every day. And just as much as I care for that dog, Bailey, she absolutely takes care of me and my family in so many other ways and is a big gain on our mental health and our household and our home.
That was Mark Bordo, the founder and CEO of Vetster, and you can find out more by heading to vetster.com. That's it for this episode of The Entrepreneurs. We'll be back at the same time next week. And do look out for Eureka, available every Friday. The Entrepreneurs was produced by Best in Show, Laura Kramer, with audio editing by Who's a Good Boy, Jack Dewars. You can listen again and find out more about the programme at monocle.com. That's where you can subscribe to Monocle magazine and sniff out more about better businesses every month. You can always follow us and catch up with the archive wherever you get your podcasts. To contact the team, do send an email to Laura on lrk@monocle.com. I'm Tom Edwards. Goodbye, and thanks for listening to The Entrepreneurs.